Well, if there can be no arrangement, then we are at an impasse.
I'm afraid so. I can't compete with you physically, and you're no match for my brains.
You're that smart.
Let me put it this way. Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates?
Yes?
Morons.
Really?
And welcome to Morons Mince Movies. I am your host, Moron Sam Munoz, and I'm here with my fellow morons, Uplester, Peñalosa II, and Akam Arturo.
I have no idea where that was going.
And today we are mincing Dune Part 2. That's right.
Dune 2, as they say in France.
Yes,
Dune
yes,
2.
yes. Let's get right into it because I feel there's a lot to talk about.
man.
It's a 2.5+ hour movie with a lot.
Yeah, it's nearly 3 hours.
It's quite the epic, I have to say.
2:45.
So
Yes,
let's
it
get
is.
into it. Any general thoughts you want to just get?
magnificent. my
Fucking
God.
magnificent.
Yeah.
Good.
I will say that this is well on its way, if not already there, to be amongst my top 3 trilogies out there, which is, of course, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and then you have your Dune.
Yeah.
That's sealed the deal.
Well, it's not a trilogy
Alright.
yet.
Not
I
yet.
mean,
That's
but
what
it's
I'm
gonna
saying.
be,
Saying
I
it's
guess.
well on
That's
its
what I'm
way.
saying.
Is what he's
That's what's
saying.
well on its way to
Yeah.
get there. And I fucking... I'm in tears. I want to watch it
In
again.
tears?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Wow.
I also, I already have any plans to watch it again
Damn it.
because
Yeah.
Jeez, my
Yeah,
God.
man.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed it. So I think it's going to be a full-on positive review from all of us.
Be the circleist jerk
I-
of all.
Yes,
I'm ready.
I do have some points I want to bring up.
God
because
damn it! No, it's
No, I'll bring it up later. But I still really enjoyed the movie. I think it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
I still think the first one. I know a lot of people are saying that this one's better than the first one, but I still think the first one's better. But I guess we'll get into it later on.
Yeah.
So this is a spoiler review, as we always do on Morons Mince Movies.
Yes.
We only do spoiler reviews. So let's get to it. What do you guys think?
Do you want to start by recapping for anyone who maybe Dune didn't land on their radar, and this is the first they're hearing
No.
about it?
I don't want to recap.
No?
If they're
Perfect.
watching this, they've probably
They
seen
know
the
Dune.
first
Okay,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to recap.
And if you're on the fence of whether you want to watch this or not, just take our word for it and fucking watch it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh, now I understand what all those words meant when they were talking about Dune. And the reason why I say that is because we start off on planet Arrakis,
Yes, yeah.
also known
Well-
as Dune.
Yeah, it basically right where part
Right
one
where part
ends
one
is
ends,
where
man.
part 2
Immediately
begins.
picks up where it left
although
off.
although we do get a little bit of the Emperor, right? If I remember correctly, in the beginning, or am I wrong in that? Is
No,
there
you
any-
are because it
No.
opens up with Florence Pugh's character.
Yeah, and she's
the one
talking.
doing the narration. She's jottling in her journal.
Yeah, and so I actually, it made it seem that actually some time had passed. So when they jump into Arrakis, I was a little confused, and I was like, is that the same body from
Yeah,
part 1?
same.
And then I was like, because it feels like time has passed. Not only because the actors are also visibly a little older too, but it just feels like time has passed. But then you come to realize, no, like they're still traveling back to their hideout, and the other family, what is their goddamn name? Harkonnens. The Harkonnens are chasing after them, and they are trying to escape. And that first sort of battle scene, I guess you could call it, or whatever where they're being hunted by the Harkonnens.
Yeah, and they have to run to the mountain,
And they go, and then they. That was like the first scene where it was like, well, here it is. It's like the Denis Villeneuve type cinematography and everything, and so I was kind of.
No, it was.
I
Really
was
well
in
done.
on it. I was in right there from that first scene. I love that wide shot where everybody's like, floating up.
So
to the
many
top.
good
slowly
wide
up.
shots, by the way.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, the entire movie is like all these
Cinema-
great.
I don't know if you guys
Photography.
watched this in IMAX 70 millimeters or.
Not IMAX. I watched it at AMC and Prime. I don't know what that
okay.
means.
I don't know.
I sat in the
Amazon?
handicap section, so ghetto
so it was
IMAX.
like that,
yes. You just sit really close to the screen.
Yeah,
You
no, I
bastard.
watched it. I think it was just a standard digital.
Dude, I sit in the seats. I don't take a handicapped person's seat, dude.
Okay, sure.
There's literally a
That is
section
supposed to be
the-
for a
the
handicapped
wheelchairs.
no,
friend.
I do
Yeah,
the same
but-
thing.
Do you have a friend who's handicapped
There's
sitting next
no
to you?
one there that
you're
was
not
in a
supposed to sit there.
Yeah.
It says if someone has to arrive, then you will get up and give them a seat. Well,
does
I
say
will
that.
give away my seat.
It does say
If not,
that.
it's
All
fine.
right. Let's get back to the movie.
Anyway, fucking from the get-go, man. I was in, like you said. What happens after that scene with the? Does it go straight to the Baron? No.
No, I think we follow. So Paul Atreides is with the Fremen, and they're all going back to their hideout.
There
You
you
kind
go.
of get this idea that a lot of the Fremen don't welcome him there.
Yeah.
And but there is a faction of them who are like, this is the one, or
Ubaldid?
no, that is a name. I think that these names I always forget
know,
them.
man.
But
It's so
do you remember
tough.
what the name of the what they call him, the Messiah?
Yeah, it's Al Habib, I think it was. Or something.
No, it's not.
No.
Habib.
Was it? Yeah, it was something like that.
Producer, this is where we need you, producer.
Yeah,
this is
man.
where we need you. This is where you're supposed to be looking up. Go to IMDb. Allah Al-Khalib or something like that. Allah something or other. Anyways, so there's a faction of Fremen who think he's that
He's
person.
the Messiah. He's basically the Messiah.
Yeah. Who's
That-
come
there.
to save their people from their oppressors, who are the Harkonnens
Yeah.
and basically the Empire, right? This imperial force that's happening and
Yeah.
whatnot.
So I just want to say that is one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is it was really like I can see why big series like Game of Thrones and Star Wars were influenced so heavily by this movie because of the fact that it's
Well, this novel.
this novel. The
novel,
yes,
yeah.
the
So
novel, of course, not the movie.
The
I think-
novel predates everything, by the way. So for
Yeah.
everyone that I see making those comparisons to Star Wars and Game of Thrones,
You're in the
this
wrong.
came
Yes,
first.
this came first. So that's
Not
what I'm
the other way
saying
around.
is, when George R. R. Martin was a young teenager, he picked up a version of Dune, read it, and it inspired him to write a story that had families and fucking
The power
secret
plays
plots
and
and power
treachery,
plays
yep.
and
Was George R. R. Martin that influenced by Dune? I thought it was more like Lord of the Rings, or was it a combination of Lord of the Rings?
I've read
and
that
this?
it
Yeah.
was.
It was also
heavily
Shogun.
influenced for him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yeah. So if you're looking for something that's Game of Thrones mixed with Star Wars,
This is.
I mean,
This is that.
that's how I felt
This is
about
that.
it from the first movie, and that's what I liked about
Yeah.
it so much because it was Game of Thrones in space. For me, as how I described it. But that to me that was a positive. It wasn't nothing negative. And I mean, I guess this goes into since we're talking about it, goes into what I kind of. I guess I didn't like about this version. What I loved about the first one was the first one is much more complex, and that's a lot of people get turned off by the first one because it's a lot of here's the Atreides, here are the Harkonnens, this is the the rivalry
Fremen.
between the houses, and
this
this
why
is how
Spice Morange is important.
and how the hierarchy works within the their families and within there's a lot of setup going on in part
Yes.
one,
Lots
which
of world building.
which I loved, and this one there's not much world building. There's still world building going on. Like you get to see the Harkonnens' planet a lot more, which I love that scene by the way.
Yes, the monochrome.
Yeah.
And
And you get to
black
see
and white,
and you get to see more of the Fremen and how they're living. But it's a much simpler story in my opinion, and it's a lot easier to follow. So I think people who are turned off by the first one and its complexity and how much it's going into the
Different
details,
names of
Yeah.
people
and the politics and everything. This one doesn't do it as much. It still has it, but not as much. It's more of a pretty.
It
I
focuses
think
more
And that's
on
where I
Paul
want to
Atreides.
digress about what you're saying, because what you're saying is correct, because the first film does do that. It world builds. It gives you this great introduction into this whole universe that's being established. So when this second film happens, you can hit the ground running.
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, it does.
And there was less of that because there didn't need to be, because the majority of everything had already been really established well, and then it gave a chance for the story just to keep pushing forward.
Yep.
And that's why I, on the flip side, really loved the pacing and everything we got to see in this film. And whereas there was a lot, you can argue that the first film was more dialogue driven. This one is definitely more action driven.
Yes.
But so you're talking about the pacing. I did feel, again, I disagree with the majority in this, because a lot of people say this is better paced than the first one.
Yeah.
And I actually think the opposite. Like with the first one, I never felt that it was slow.
This guy.
But with this one I did, and I think a lot
What?
of it. Yeah.
How is this movie slow?
When?
A lot of the
Oh my God.
when he's with the Fremen and they're building the love story, and like the love story was fine. I'm not saying that it was like cheese or anything like that. It was fine. They did it well, but it was just like okay, like it just felt like yeah they're gonna fall in love, they're gonna get together, whatever. And then when they get to Austin Butler's character and the Harkins, that's where to me it like
Elvis
jumped
Powder.
another level. Like I really loved that scene where they go into their planet and it's all black and white or whatever.
It's all, that's where
and-
Marilyn Manson comes from, by the way. That planet.
I think
yeah,
so.
that's his homeworld.
I
But-
love that they explained it because they have a black sun, and that's why it looks
Yes.
the way it
Yeah,
is.
the look of that entire scene and more into it,
man.
like when they go into when he's walking behind the Bene Gessrit, a lady who's trying to seduce him, and get him to get her pregnant and everything.
Yeah.
But I just love that entire scene. I love the way it looked. I love the
Coliseum.
introduction of Austin Butler's character, whose name I can't remember because it's such a weird ass name. But yeah, he was great in this. He's a great villain. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, man, that makeup and I don't know how much of that is prosthetics.
I mean,
but
I'm
it
assuming
looks
it's all
fucking-
prosthetic because I know
yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård's character. He went through I think it was 8 hours of makeup. So
Oh,
I'm
well,
pretty
yeah,
sure.
he's
Yeah, and he's-
huge.
Yeah.
His character is
blobless.
great in the first one.
yeah.
and he kind of replaces him a little bit because you don't get as much as of the Baron.
Baron. Yeah, you get more of this one.
You
Raj-
get more of him.
Raj, Elvis
Yeah.
Powder.
Yeah, but to me, it like
Yeah.
Elvis Powder.
That's who I was thinking about when I was watching this movie. I was like, oh, that guy looks like Powder, but he also looks like Elvis.
Yeah,
Elvis Powder.
But to me, the movie jumped a couple of levels when it got to that. That's when it
man.
really I got really hooked and I was back in. And from then on, it was like kind of didn't really let go.
see,
To be
that's
honest,
interesting because you were saying about the situation with the Fremen that you found it a little just, I guess for lack of a better term, you weren't as engaged.
I wasn't as engaged, not
See,
because I
and-
don't like
yeah.
the world building. I think I know
And-
where you're going. You're gonna say I'm a hypocrite.
No. I was gonna say it's interesting because I found that whole section and I was as shocked as to myself. I got really intrigued as to the whole idea of the setup of a bunch of people believe he's the Messiah, some people don't, and then that whole thing of him. How do we reach out to those who don't and make it feel like
From
I'm more on
Jessica.
their side?
Yeah,
Lady
Lady
Jessica
Jessica
goes
goes
and
in.
just the faith aspect that.
Well,
really,
they're building a fake Messiah storyline,
and that's what I found really, really interesting. And it's shocking to me
is
that
it? I
you
feel-
didn't find that as engaging.
No, but I feel that happens later on, like in the
I mean,
first
everything
part.
established in the
spliced.
beginning.
The
Yeah.
thing is that what I
In the
wanted to
first
say
part,
earlier-
because it's still until Jessica, Lady Jessica goes and drinks the worm piss or whatever,
Powerade.
and has her.
It's not piss.
That's what they call it in the Fremen.
I mean, well, yeah.
That's what one of the guys
She
calls
calls it the
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah, and then she starts, getting in there and starts to manipulate
when she starts talking to the baby.
yeah.
The- the-
exactly.
whoa.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm drinking.
I prefer that outlet than the other one. What I'm trying to say is that's when, after drinking the life water, which is what they call it, she starts talking to the baby, and the Bene Gesserit freak out because they're like the mother emperor
forgot.
mother was like, fuck, she's pregnant. Oh, we didn't know that, and she had already drank it, so that's causing a whole ruckus. Like the baby's leading the things right now. So that part was
and I agree with you. The whole thing, because as the whole movie progresses, and even from the first part, you get hints, and you should know by the second one that the Bene Gesserit, that whole group, is kind of behind a lot of this.
Yes,
and
they are the
kinda
Illuminati.
they're moving pawns here and there,
Yep.
and what's going on with Jessica, right, is that she's kind of rebelling against her own kind in a way, because she believes that her son is the one, or that weird ass name that I can't remember what they call him. But the other ladies, the older lady, right? Their mission really isn't to find the one, is what I came to understand from this second movie. Their mission really is to find someone who they can bring up as emperor and control.
Yeah.
Not
They
to
have
be,
multiple prospects.
Yes, exactly. But but really as puppets, they want the next person to put up as the emperor as puppet.
And that's why they're able to do that, because somehow they've made it so that each family, each house has a Bene Gesserit
Yes.
as their advisor, as their truth seer, as their guide. So they're able to basically control the flow of things, politics, if you will, to make it so that it benefits them. And yes, the original plan was not for her to birth a boy.
even
She
say
did
that.
that.
To birth a
Jessica
girl,
did
yeah.
that. Yeah, Jessica did that to appease the Duke, Leto.
Yes.
Which they were first pissed with her. They were like, "You fucking fucked up But then he starts proving himself by being able to make these
Dude,
tests.
that development of him
Yes,
like doing all these
of
little
him
things,
getting
like,
into that role,
actually fulfilling
and him
that
not
role.
wanting it. And how hilarious was Javier Bardem's character with
dude,
every
oh,
fucking
he's
time.
great.
Every fucking time where he's like
he
of
course he would be humble because he is.
The Ulab Deep. Ulab Deep would deny that he's the Ulab Deep. Oh, and he was like, and then everyone else was like, yeah, you know what it reminded me of? Life of Brian. The Life of Brian
great.
was like, I'm not the Messiah. They're like, only the person that would be the Messiah would
Would
deny
say that
being
he's
the
not,
Messiah. He goes, okay, fine, I am the Messiah. He's the Messiah. Pull up that scene. That's exactly what
That is
this
great,
felt like.
actually.
Yeah.
That's a great reference,
But
Zuble.
it's
I didn't know
stood
you were a
out.
Monty Python
Oh,
fan.
come on, man. That's
Oh, we
my
need to
jam.
mince that movie one day. Anyways, going back to Dune.
Yeah, so I really liked that aspect. So I know that you preferred probably the part where they're on the barren planet, but for me, it was this. And then with the worms, the whole story with the worms and how they're like kind of coexisting with them. They feed them bodies from time to time of the Sardakan?
The Harkonnens.
Harkonnens. No, the other ones,
that was the army. There's
the army that comes from the emperor. They're the
Oh,
Sarkins.
yeah.
The
I don't know their
Sarkins.
names.
Saurus, something.
The Sarkins.
By the way, has none of us have read the books, right?
I'm
going
like,
to now.
I am
I'm
going
already,
to, yes. Well,
So I wish I can say
So
I've read
that's-
them, but I've been listening
that's
to
something
them.
for the audience. We haven't read the book, so
I
please
am-
excuse our lack of knowledge of. Like,
I have started, and I am right around the part where they arrive on Arrakis, and they're kind of establishing themselves with like the ways of this planet. And
Yeah.
Paul is talking to Gurney, and he's talking to all the different people about what's going on. So there's been a lot of backstory and like building. So I'm super fucking excited to
Nice.
keep going on that and watch this. But yeah. And in the book, it's really weird too. The timing of everything.
I've seen that there's a couple of changes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
excited
yeah.
to see just how the difference is. Like one of the big ones I saw was the fact that. I mean, spoiler alert.
Jump
we already
around,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
Jessica's
spoiler
daughter is
is
a
the one
toddler.
who kills. Yeah, in
During the
the
books.
books, she's a toddler.
Yeah, so
Ah.
the way
Giving birth.
they did
Wait,
it here.
And
you,
that-
don't
they
tell
read
me
the
that
book?
from the.
Oh,
I haven't read the book, man.
Oh,
Don't tell me anything from the book.
Oh, that's true. Damn.
Wait,
that wasn't me.
why are we
I was
going
about
into
to.
the books? Back
Anyway,
to the
no. So what I was
Back
saying
to
is
the
the
movie.
worms.
Yeah.
So I really like the worm aspect. I like the
Yes.
fact that one of his tests was to ride the worm, which I thought
That
was
whole
fucking
scene was
awesome.
great.
Was so
I wish I
well
had
done,
seen this
dude.
in IMAX just because
Like-
of that. How he puts, and I want to watch, by the way, a short of like this movie from the worm's perspective. Like maybe they're hanging out because they don't really go into that. Maybe they're hanging out just at home in their underground layer, and then just hear the thump, thump, and they're like, oh, fucking.
I'm gonna go.
I'm
Again.
interested into how
Damn
is
it.
it that they control them to go where they want to go? 'Cause
I think once they hook onto those,
you just,
it
you
might
just
be like
steer them in the
flaps.
right direction.
is
Yeah.
it really
Flaps.
that
They're
they're
strong
like
enough to do that.
compared to that worm? They're like
Yeah.
an ant. How is it that they're steering that worm? I'm guessing there's some sort of
It's the ways
connection
of the
going
worms.
on.
Exactly, the nerve endings and all that. But, I mean, just the
There's
fact when
some sort of force.
when this
or-
was happening and they're like, "Oh, that's the biggest worm ever!" Like, just I
Yeah.
mean, come on, like the way that added to like this
Yeah,
whole
the
epicness
suspense,
of it all,
man.
the suspense.
Yeah.
of course, it
Suspense.
looks like he's falling off at first, and then just the way everything is just.
It's
handled.
very well filmed. Again, the director Denis Villeneuve, he's one of the great ones. He's gonna be. I mean, he's already been established as another great director. But yeah, he's.
the scale
just-
of this film was something else.
Yeah, it was an amazing film. Speaking of the worms, I want to jump a little bit ahead, but the whole scene where they finally attack the capital in Arrakis, right, and they have all the worms going. That was probably the most
that
epic.
was
Yeah.
The most epic,
Yep.
scene in the entire movie, where all three
Yeah,
are just
man.
crashing through, and
Yeah.
it's just
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, that whole scene was just amazing. I loved it.
Fucking love it.
Anything else? Because
The
I
score,
did.
we haven't really talked
I mean,
about the score.
we're
the
jumping
music,
around
the-
everywhere.
Yeah,
but
we're
fuck
jumping
it.
around.
Yeah. You might see
no rhyme or
we're
reason.
just riding the worm
But
wherever it takes us.
Yeah, dude, the score was just. I mean, Hans Zimmer at his fucking.
I have
his
to.
name again. God damn it, Sam.
Sorry, it's just look.
How is this not a good score?
It's a great score, but it's a lot of it is the same from the first movie, and that doesn't mean that it's a bad score. It's a great score. There was nothing new
Called
that was.
connective tissue.
There was nothing new that was like, oh, like.
Did you listen to the soundtrack, Sam?
No, I didn't listen. to
I
the
will. I'll
soundtrack.
tell you. I listened to it on the ride home, and
As you
yeah.
do.
But a lot of the
Wanted to
the
ride the
music
worm?
is the same as from the first movie, at
you
least
see
from
that
what I
like it's a bad
reckon.
thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying the score is great, but there's nothing new here where I can be like, wow, like it's another step up, is what I'm saying.
So sharply changing the subject. What do you guys think about the additions to this movie compared to the part one? So the new ones, basically, your Florence Pugh, your Christopher Walken, your Elvis.
I think all the additions were great.
Great, right? They all nailed it?
I
They all
think
nailed
everybody's
it.
good.
They all did
Yeah,
a
I
good
think the acting is all really good. I think the best performances are ones we've talked about already: Austin Butler and Javier Bardem. I think the supporting cast here is like the real standouts. Timothy Chalamet is good.
Are
yeah.
you kidding? Towards the end?
Towards
and
the end,
everything and
yeah,
all the
yeah.
speeches?
The
Holy shit. I got
speech,
chills,
the speech was good. Yeah.
It
when
was
he
so good. And the way he kept going in between English and the native language that was happening.
Yes.
Dude, and that's something that I really appreciated because like I feel like that sometimes can get lost when it's a fictional language and you're trying to still make that emphasis, with the right emotional weight. Like sometimes I personally love foreign films and I don't care like about subtitles, but I know that that turns some people off. But I feel like the way this was handled and his delivery, it's still like carried all that weight. It landed so well. And I just fucking loved it, man.
Yeah, I think he nailed it. There's nothing definitely wrong with the acting. It's all good. Can I ask, what do you guys think about the romantic, between Zendaya's character, Shani, I believe her name is. Yeah, Shani and Paul Atreides. Did all that work for you? Everything good there?
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I think they have great
I don't
chemistry.
think they overdid it, I don't think that they were
it was
like...
good that they didn't overdid it.
Yeah, they didn't overdo it to the point where I was like, all right, they're forcing this shit on me, like enough. It was enough to where I was like, oh yeah, he's a young teenage boy living in a desert with a bunch of like deserty guys, and I'm not surprised.
Everything's dry.
So. And she seems interested in him as well, and towards the end, not so much. But
I think
because
I thought that evolution was well done too.
Yeah,
and
I think it did a good job of setting it up. Even though I thought those parts were the slowest parts for me, but I thought even looking back at it, I understand why they had to be there because it pays off a lot in the end.
Yeah, in the end.
Where you really feel like okay. Like there's not this forced sort of reaction going on between how they're with each other and everything. So all of that I thought was good.
And his decision to wed Florence Pugh.
Oh yeah,
right in front of her.
That's where the heartbreak. That's where it pays off. That's where it really pays off.
When he get on, he gonna leave your ass for a white girl. That's essentially what happened, dude. It's poor Zendaya, man. She could have at least found out about it beforehand, but no.
Jesus.
Space Jesus was like, sorry,
Space Jesus,
you
I like
out,
it.
dude. Yeah, man. No, that I
Jesus.
really did dig the parts where he has to go south. Like that for me is where it changed because this whole time he's fighting the urge to become
because he has visions that it's gonna go wrong
when he goes south. And then the fact that no man has survived drinking the white water.
Yeah, and how that went
piss.
into the prophecy of desert spring tears, and we find out that's her name.
Zendaya,
that's what it means.
But the reason, so
wait, can I interrupt here because this is another. You guys, we're all positive. There's got to be some negative here.
No, Sam.
Okay, so there were a couple things that kind of bother me, which is why I think the first one is better. So even though this movie is really long, it's almost 3 hours long.
2 hours and 45
I
minutes.
felt there was stuff that they rushed through. Like honestly, believe this.
Yeah.
The one was the battle at the end. I felt the battle was really rushed, where it was like we get this awesome scene where the worms are coming in and they're all like charging.
Through,
You get a great fight with reminiscent of the dream that Paul Atreides had in the first movie, but it's actually Shani doing all the things.
Yeah.
It's great. And then you cut to the Emperor and they're inside the the palace or whatever. And now it's like, oh, everybody got in already. The battle's over and they're inside.
The battle was kept happening too.
It was still going. Yeah, I saw that. I saw it that way.
Felt like it needed a little bit more, maybe like another extra 5 minutes is all I needed.
Hey,
and the other
I
thing,
won't argue with wanting more.
Yeah. And again, from a 2 hour and 46-minute movie. Yeah. And then the other thing that I thought was really rushed was this whole part where, it takes him a while to go south, and Shani actually convinces him, if I remember correctly, to do it.
Yeah.
even though he doesn't want to.
Exactly.
And then they kind of cut, and he's already in the pool, the little temple pool where the little baby worm is.
He's asking for the water.
And he's asking for the water,
Yeah.
and there's no sort of scene to kind of do that
I did notice
transition,
that. I
and
did
also
notice
kind
that.
of show the conflict that's maybe happening there, because there were people there who were kind of like, hey, he can't be doing this and everything like that. I get that Lady Jessica was there kind of convincing everybody. I get that.
She told the person
But
in
then
charge.
this
Yeah.
is
do
such...
it.
Exactly.
I know. I like I said, I get that she was there.
But getting to the
hold
inside.
on. But the thing is that this particular moment in the movie is such a pivotal moment
Stop
because
hitting my table, man.
I'm sorry.
I like this table.
It's a pivotal moment,
Okay,
Uble,
okay.
where he drinks the worm piss,
Yeah.
and that's where he turns. Really, he becomes
He embraces the
the messiahness, whatever, the Asulat Kaid or whatever it's called.
Look up the fucking name, man.
Yeah, can you look it up, producer Nicky? You have one job.
Look it up.
I've been enjoying these
job.
trailers.
He's like, I just been watching all the
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
And-
Sorry.
Messiah name.
And I
Paul
just
Atreides.
feel like that entire scene where he drinks the life water, and they come and they revive him, and
No, they
it's
don't.
just,
They don't revive him right away. They cut to Zendaya hanging out.
Yeah.
And they go up to her and they're like, "We need you.
yeah, exactly.
You need to come with us."
Yeah, but there's when Jessica drinks the life water, there's a whole vision going
Yeah.
on, and you
Yeah.
see every like the blood, the
Yeah.
life going into
It's
her,
taking over the
and
embryo.
it just feels like there is something important happening here. And when Paul is gonna do it, I
Oh,
feel
I can't
like
find it.
You son of
when Paul's gonna do it, I just feel like they could have done something else there to really
There was
emphasize
suspense,
how
Sam.
important.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not really, because
Yes.
you know he's going to wake up. There's
Do
no
we?
suspense. Yes,
Do
you
we,
do.
Sam?
You do. You do know
know.
he's gonna. There's no suspense
know.
there. There's no suspense. What I'm saying is
I
that
was on
it's
the
such
edge
a
of my seat.
pivotal moment, and you could have maybe gone into some of the visions that he's probably having as he's going through this, coma or trance or whatever's happening to him, where you really like emphasize the impact of this event, and it just feels like it's kind of glossed over, and now he's all
Who is
in.
That's Heterak.
Oh, that's what the Bene Gesserit
okay.
call it.
That's
That's what
exactly.
the
It's a different
okay.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
what I
there's
came
two
across
names.
too. I was
Fremen,
like,
the Fremen's name for the Messiah.
yeah.
That's what I was looking
Dune.
for.
Asa al-Gaid or something like that.
Yeah.
Asa al-Gaid. Anyways, so I just felt like that scene just bothered me, and it just
Mahdi.
he turns, and then from then on he's
that's the name he gets
he's
later on.
Paul Atreides with
Listen,
balls.
Gaib.
There we go.
Lisan
There you
Al
go.
Gaib.
Lisan
Lisan
al-Gaib.
al-Gaib.
Yeah, the voice
was
of
close.
from the outer world.
Yes, and Muad'Dib is the name
That
that he
he
gives
takes
himself
on,
because
yeah.
he's the
Desert
desert
mouse.
rat. Desert mouse. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
but
He also takes on the name Usul.
Usul.
yeah,
Or
that's
Pillar.
his, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the two things that really bothered me about the movie. But it's still it didn't bring it down. I'm just saying like these are the things that I was like,
Yeah, it would have been nice to focus, and I'm sure
And
sure
again,
somewhere out
like
there.
an extra
look,
5 minutes. This movie could have been 10 minutes longer.
you know how I'm gonna sleep at night. I'm gonna sleep at night knowing that I'm sure that footage is out there, and I'll be damned if they don't release a fucking extended edition.
Well,
Dune,
Denis doesn't want to.
and
I don't
Dune-
think
what?
Denis does that kind
Yeah,
of
he
stuff.
God
doesn't.
damn
He's-
it.
He's already talked
This
about
is
it.
my cut.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy. This is the cut that I wanted. This is it.
You're the
'Cause
worst.
there was two characters that were cut from this film.
Yeah, which is the daughter. But
What?
she's like
No.
a baby, right?
What? She's in the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but she's
but as
she's
an
not. She's an
embryo.
unborn.
Everything
embryo.
that was supposed to happen with her character is in the movie.
negative.
Oh, really?
The
That's
people
not
that,
true.
the-
okay.
yes,
That's not
the
true.
people that were cut were I forgot the dude from the first movie. He was gonna come back.
No,
and
that's
got
not
shot.
true.
What do you mean it's not true?
There's a character.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
the-
spoil anything from the books, but there's in the books. It's something
Were they
that.
filmed? Were they part of this film in the script?
Oh, isn't there another? There's
No,
another
oh,
treaty.
okay,
I'm
I
talking
understood what you were
about like
saying.
no. I'm talking about like
That you were
the
saying from the
version.
book too.
No.
From
Yeah.
filmed to final
Exactly.
product.
Yeah,
okay.
no.
I
Film to final
apologize.
product. Yeah.
I thought you meant from book to
No,
movie.
no.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's-
No, I didn't know that.
Anything else we want to talk about before we get to the ending? Because I want to get to the ending, but before that, I want to open it up for anything else.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about? I already forgot his name. Coming back, Gurney.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude,
No,
I
that was
forgot
a-
he died.
that was another thing. Actually,
Yeah.
3 things that bothered me about this movie.
Fuck you. No, hold on. So I rewatched Dune leading up to this.
It felt very like out of nowhere that
What do
he
you-
was just there smuggling.
What do you mean
like,
just there?
Yeah,
He's been there for a while. His hair was all long.
First of all,
now.
how have they been hiding this giant machine? They've been smuggling spice apparently, or
Do
something.
you not
right?
remember that the South is considered uninhabited?
Yeah, I guess you're right. He went to the south, but I mean, it's just like this guy had stole this giant machine with a couple of other Atreides guys, and just like, all right,
So
let's
you're
go.
saying you don't see Thanos being capable of that?
Thanos? What? Oh,
I like it.
Dude, okay.
it didn't bother me as much as the other two things.
I'm not gonna lie though.
say.
When so I rewatched Dune leading up to this, and I forgot that he had died, and I'm like, oh yeah,
He didn't die.
Or he disappears.
He disappears.
Into battle.
Yeah, they don't.
And I was like, I remember like, oh yeah, what does happen to him? And then that was it. And then I'm like, he's back.
I like the touch of Jessica spreading the word of her son being the Messiah, kind of on purpose, trying to get it built up.
100%.
And Pa not being on board with that at first. Pa being like, "These are the fucking lies that you're spreading. God damn it! I'm out there fighting worms and riding worms, and you're over here spreading the word." And I liked how that pays off after he drinks the life water. Again, for me, that part where he drinks the water and then it changes into him embracing that whole thing and the speeches that he gives. The reaction of the people that are hearing the speeches that he's giving, and then the announcement that he's gonna wed the emperor's daughter in front of fucking Zendaya, and how that shit plays out was also like, I think this is close towards the end, right? Because
it's towards the end.
So, a couple things on that, if I may. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off on that. Yeah. So first off, Lady Jessica and her whole journey of becoming Reverend Mother was so badass. Because that was another like very prophetic thing. Of like now she had to fulfill this role, and it was also prophesied that the mother of the one was gonna be the Reverend Mother, and how that set up, and her face tattoos were so fucking sick. I just love the design, the costuming of like the and
it's all
everything, the production.
It's gonna win some Oscars.
Amazing, but I loved how her eyes turned blue after the water of life situation.
Oh, of course,
it just added to everything. And the one thing I wanted to point out that I just thought was really cool, as fathers, was she's expecting her baby, and then her being able to communicate with her baby in the womb.
Yeah,
I thought that was so fucking beautiful.
That would be really cool.
What? How amazing would that be as a mother being able to already communicate with your child and have them talk back, and like you're just so I don't know, just the development of that just really got to me in a beautiful way. And then the other thing you were talking about with Florence Pugh's character, I've already seen memes of, because he sets everything up. He's like, I'm going to take your daughter's hand in marriage and this and that.
Yeah.
And basically she's like, spare him, I'll be your willing bride.
Yeah.
I've already seen memes of that, of like women lining up to like be his willing bride.
Really?
He's a good looking dude.
Yeah. It
reminds me of like the Hunger Games thing, like, I volunteer as tribute. Like now I'm seeing that line as a meme for like this.
Oh, I did.
That's it.
Okay. I do want to get to the final fight because I think that's also one of the best scenes in the entire movie, and also the most suspenseful scenes in the entire movie.
The fact that it was done, that fight, without any score, without any music,
that's really good. They dropped it off completely, and it's a great choreographed fight. And I since I haven't read the books, I didn't know what the outcome of this was. So this was the only time where I really felt like maybe Paul Atreides dies here, because this is a huge spoiler. He does get stabbed first.
He does.
And he stumbles back. And Lady Jessica, the mother, stands up. Everybody's like
everyone
shocked,
looks genuinely concerned.
And I was as shocked as everyone else around in that movie. Because
I was like, oh fuck!
I was like, holy shit! Like, wow, what a turn, what a twist! I was like, and then this is not what I expected at all.
He'll come back. He'll come back from the.
I was like, man, they're really gonna do this. I can't believe it. I was even thinking, this is how the books are. I don't think the books are like this. It must be
Sam from Morons Mince movies got surprised by a movie.
That happens to me all the time. What are you talking about?
Like you're always like, I knew this was predictable. I knew this was going.
No, when it comes to these kind of
I knew where the story was going.
When it comes to these kind of archetypal, stories like these, you know how the story's gonna go. It's more about how it happens than what happens.
Credit to you, Sam. Would have been really interesting, and it's not. I'm just saying interesting. Like, what if he had died? And then he comes back 3 days later.
My God, which takes us to the final thought that I wanted to give after what I say about the final fight. So and then he gets stabbed, and then you do get the final sort of like he's Austin Butler's character's about to do the final kill, and then you get the no.
Well, they did the trope, which I don't dislike. I love it. I love it when movies do this, but
Yeah, it's
close
kind
up
of a
on both
cliche.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think Gerard Butler's character,
Gerard Butler. Holy shit! What did he show up?
Butler.
Austin Butler, is you hear the
Wait,
stab
Leonidas
sound.
was in this movie.
You hear the stab sound and you're like, oh fuck, this is it. Paul got it, and then the camera zooms out.
Yeah.
And no, it's Elvis Powder. on the
Yeah, and
floor
then Paul
bleeding.
goes, "This is Sparta." I'm sorry, I
Kicks
just
him off.
I had to go by your Gerard Butler.
No, yeah,
you're
man, that
good,
entire
yeah,
fight
yeah.
and the choose your fighter. That the reason why
Yeah, that was sick.
for anyone
Choose your
who
champion.
didn't watch this, choose your champion is because Paul challenged the Emperor to a fight. And the Emperor was like, I get to choose a fighter, and then I
Like,
choose Elvis Powder, and then that's what the fight started. And then after that, it was like, your fucking champion lost, so time for you to die.
And just that, all that setup, how far we got there into this film, like of all the things that happened, the Emperor just wanting to wipe the Atreides off the map.
Yes.
And then all
because
this
they were
shit
getting too powerful.
just because of that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
too many families were seeing
He was
them
afraid
as,
that they were gonna usurp him.
And then like look what happened.
Yep.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
the way the Baron died.
right
Ooh.
before the fight too. Oh yes. But right before the fight, when he's like, "May your knife chip and shatter" or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that
But
was
dude,
very
yeah,
cool
the
to
way
say.
the Baron, and he says like, "Hello, grandfather,"
Yeah.
and just like
Yeah.
fucking just
Die like an
Oh, we
animal.
didn't. We skipped over that.
Yeah,
The reveal.
that was so
the reveal
sick.
that
It was his grandfather.
That is his
Yes.
grandfather.
Because again, where you guys were talking about like the Bene Gesserit, it's like manipulating things and putting one in every household. Like he is Hurricane. That's why, like even fuck.
and that brings me back to again because that's revealed right after he drinks the worm piss and
Yes.
everything, and it's
the
just
water
and-
of life.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just like a dialogue like, oh, you know, the Baron was your father, right, Lady Mother? I was like, oh yeah.
In my
He's like-
theater, like there was like,
it was a shock. It was a shocking reveal, but I felt like it needed to like stay there a little bit. Just like, give me another minute or two of
To
something
figure it out.
else.
Yeah, make it more
you know.
suspenseful. you know?
Yeah, like something.
Don't just be
I just
straightforward
needed,
with like.
needed a little bit there, man.
Yeah.
Not just. It could have been 10 minutes longer. Is what I'm saying. 10 minutes.
Man. Again,
Anyways,
I'm not gonna argue with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this.
the last thought I want to talk
Yeah.
about the themes of religion
Yes.
and false prophets or messiahs because I think that is what's really interesting about this whole story of Dune, which I really loved how it puts sort of light on this idea of how a religion gets started, in one way where it might be just someone spreading rumors about this one guy, and and now everyone thinks that he's magical and everything, although he does
is
end
magical.
up being magical.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I mean,
say.
I mean that is what's really unique about this, and I love that you are touching on it because it even made me reflect on my own faith and the way I was brought up and like the things that I believe in that deviate from organized religion and vice versa. It really spoke to me in a different way.
But the thing is, that I don't know if it's a good thing that he has this power, because what I think is actually being hinted at
He
here
become the villain.
is that he is going to end up leading, and it is hinted because there's even a scene where he has a vision of the future where the
thousands
Fremen are
of
dying,
lives, yeah.
and I think it's his lady mother who's just walking in front, I believe,
Yes,
and
he's
looking
following his mother.
yeah,
There's
and
a
that's
holy
why he
war in
doesn't
his
want to
name.
go at the beginning before he drinks the
Yeah.
worm piss, because he sees that vision. And now that he's, after he drank the life water or whatever, now he's convinced that he has to be this person. But that might not be a good thing. That might end up leading them to more tragedy and stuff.
No.
While everybody
Like,
sees him as a savior,
yeah.
he's
Well,
actually the one who's leading them
that's why
to the end.
Honestly, like if there would have been like a Godfather type ending where like the door closes on him.
Oh yeah.
Don't ever ask me about my job, Jessica.
like okay, I got, there is
I think-
there is that possibility though of turning villain.
And the power might corrupt him too. There's
I
a
think-
lot going on.
That's what he was
here
afraid of.
about-
He's like, of this happening. He's like, are you afraid of that because of like not
But
having
see,
enough power? He's like, no,
exactly.
because they gain it.
I feel like the third movie is going to reveal that this was all something that he was well aware of and under the control of. Like, I feel like there's gonna be that confrontation with him and Zendaya's character, and he's gonna be like, "Whoa, I am sorry I didn't tell you, but this was all part of my plan. They're trying to manipulate me, but little do they know I'm manipulating them."
With all the
By
hands.
going on, yes, he's gonna be doing this a lot in part 3. You'll see. I saw they hired a coach to master this movement because he's gonna be. Yeah, this is a part of my plan. I foresaw with my awesome power when I drank the wife water that
The wife water?
The wife water that this was good. He's like, oh, I drank the wrong water. Fuck, that's
I
why
think I drank that last night.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful night. I'm just saying. I feel like although at the end it does appear that Paul's character is turning into the dark side and kind of going all what he wanted to avoid. And I feel like part 3 is gonna start with like surprise, motherfucker.
Well, the
It's
thing
not
is,
that.
like, he's like a white savior character, right? he's the outsider.
Excuse me, he's half Hispanic. Oscar Isaac is his dad.
I guess, yeah, but not in the universe here. But-
We don't know that.
But the problem that Chani's character, Zendaya's character Chani, her problem is that why she's like doesn't like any of this is because she believes that someone from the Fremen needs to be leading, someone from inside the Fremen, not an outsider.
Yeah.
So he's an outsider coming in, and she believes that how is this going to be any different from what they had before? It's just another outsider ruling them, taking them to war, which could be a war that ends in tragedy and everything like that, right? So I think there's a lot going on more here than just like the typical here is the hero,
I
he's
agree.
the one, archetypal type thing, and he's following that path, but actually he might not be. He might end up being the villain. That's how I feel this is heading towards.
Well,
which
we'll
would
see.
be
Yeah.
a lot
When
more
we
interesting in my
when
opinion.
we do the part 3 episode of
Yeah, a
this,
couple years from
we'll
now.
come back to this and see if I was right in saying that he redeemed himself at the beginning of the part 3.
Is he going to
or if
be
he
both
embraced the
Luke,
evil.
Anakin, and Darth Vader? Is that what you're
All at
saying?
once, and
All
Yoda.
three?
All at once, and Yoda?
A little bit of Yoda in there.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's what I predict.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's grade this baby.
Yes.
Go for Arturo, you want to go first?
Yeah, because I want a little bit before going into the actual grade. So I need to explain just how, because yes, I said this film was majestic, but like, dude, this movie caught me off guard in the best fucking way on how much I loved it. Because I really, really enjoyed part 1. I think it was like my number 4 of like movies that year. And going into this, I was very excited, but like there was then like for example, like two of my favorite movies from last year, Barbie and Oppenheimer. I fucking love Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, and like Cillian Murphy's one of my favorite actors ever, and Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite directors. So there was already a lot of like like leading up to these things. I was so excited to see them because of this and that. And while I really, really enjoyed Dune, there was less of that built into the hype for some reason for me. But again, I was very excited to see it. But then while this film was happening, and I was just like, this is objectively one of the best films I've seen. I was thinking to myself while watching it. And then I just got swept away as I kept going, and I got goosebumps throughout the movie. I was sobbing throughout the movie. I was fucking excited. And then it just turned into this natural like love and appreciation for it. And then it hit me, in my personal fucking opinion, this is probably the best movie I've ever seen.
No, Arturo,
Yes,
don't
you
say
100%,
that.
dude. 100%. I mean, it is a 9.0
First of all,
right now.
number one,
on
you're
IMDb.
spoiling
Hold
your
on.
top 10 of 2024
We'll
already.
see what happens. Deadpool 3, we'll see what happens.
Now you're
But
saying
no,
that the
literally,
next...
like this movie was so fucking good,
damn,
and it
of
fucking
all
pulled
time.
me
Yeah.
in so hard.
Yeah.
And like again, without like the pre things to already pull me in, I guess you could say. And now I love everyone that was involved in this. I really liked everybody at first. Now I fucking love them. I love Denis. Like I'm so excited to see how this story keeps going. This made me love Dune 1 even more.
Yeah.
Like I fucking loved this movie. I can't wait to go back and see it in theaters. It is more than 2 thumbs up. It is a round of applause.
Jesus Christ.
Is that a new
That's the
grade?
top tier.
Is that a new
the
grade?
Top tier.
Broke your rating
It
scale.
did. It broke my
and just
fucking rating
added
scale.
its own fucking
Yes.
level.
It did.
Jesus Christ.
Like this is
I mean, Alusa Al-Gaid.
yeah, that's true. This is why.
This is
this
why.
is how we know it's him because he
Oh.
broke the rating
Wow.
scale. It is him.
It is him. He is...
That's it.
He is the chosen
All
one.
right.
He's the- oh my God. Well, God damn. I don't know how I can top that, to be honest, because I think this is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely, in terms of its technical qualities, it is an A plus. It's like it's gonna win some Oscars next year because it's not for this year, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think anything's gonna beat it in terms of visual effects. I think costumes, it's probably up there. Makeup is probably up there. The cinematography is fucking great. The sound is great. The score is good, even though I think it's still kind of the same thing. I feel like there might be something that might come up that might beat it there, but who knows? I think it's a really, really fucking good movie. Like I said, I still like the first one a little bit better for the reasons I already said, but I still give this movie an A because it's really good.
An A.
Yeah,
Right,
A.
yeah. My
Not an A plus, but an
my
A.
rating of this movie is closer to Arturo's. Not that strong to where I would consider it. Thank you. I will.
It's 101
for later.
Wait, does this go up to 101?
It doesn't go up to 101. It doesn't go up to 101.
Have you ever given any movie 100? Because not
Airbud 2, obviously. No, yeah. There's. So, I guess you can say this is For me, there are two trilogies right now that exist in this plane that is beyond.
It's like God tier.
It's God tier, right? And that's the Star Wars trilogy original, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, right? That's
you missed one. It's the Godfather trilogy.
Godfather trilogy is knocking on that door again. I haven't seen part 3.
Fuck you, Arturo.
You have to remember. No, it might be close, guys. It might be close. I'm just saying I haven't seen part 3 of that. Remember? So
yeah,
I cannot put.
You're not missing
It's
much.
knocking on the door, but
Lies.
the gatekeeper's like, ugh, haven't seen part 3, guy. But this fucking movie is damn near breaking down those doors, and I can't see how they would fuck it up with the part 3. But when part 3 comes out, it will officially be in that existential plane of movies that not one is better than the other. They are all on an equal fucking perfection plane for me, and that's what these movies are for me. Today I was walking with my family, and I was showing Muble, my son, how you need to walk to avoid a sandworm noticing where you are. I shit you not. I was walking through the parking lot, and I'm sure some people thought I was crip walking. I'm sure some people thought I was maybe like experiencing some leg pain, but I was like, this is, sidestep, swing, kick, and then next. And it's just been on my mind since I watched it. I've been, like I mentioned, listening to the audiobooks. I wish I could say I was reading them. But I don't have... Stop. The point is you're observing this content. Don't be one of those pinky up like, oh, you're not reading it with your eyes? Blech.
You're not reading
You're only
it.
using your ears. That's obviously a
Look.
lower level of sense.
I have no problem with you listening to the audiobook.
Okay, good.
My problem is when people say, "Oh yeah, I read that book."
Oh no!
And they didn't. They fucking listened to the book.
Right.
They didn't read it.
That's
They
why I
listened to
didn't
it.
say I was reading this book. I said I've been listening.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the Dune audiobook, and I've been kind of immersing myself more in this universe.
Question.
And yeah.
Do you see yourself listening to number 3 before seeing?
No.
number 3?
Ooh.
I have a thing where
I haven't even thought that far.
No, I have a thing where like if I watch a movie that's based on a book, I tend to watch the movies first because I know that the book is going to have more detail.
Yep.
If I happen to read the books first, fine. But if I'm experiencing movies for the first time, then I will wait to see all
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah. No, I think
I'm
that's what I'll do.
gonna read the first book now because this is supposed to be the entire first book that's passed.
Oh,
And
really? 1 and 2?
It's,
they
it's
split
just
it,
a
yeah.
one book. Yeah.
The movie
That
from the
makes sense.
80s decided to put everything together.
Yeah.
And
which
it
is
clearly
terrible, by the way.
lost a lot.
David Lynch,
was
fucking
not-
most overrated director of all time. F that guy. But anyway,
How do you really feel about him?
did you know there's
But
6
yeah.
books, by the way?
Yeah.
And I don't. But Denis said he's only gonna do Messiah, and he's done.
Yeah.
He's not gonna
Because
go
it closes
further.
out the trilogy because it's the epilogue almost, but with more.
I have
Okay.
no idea.
I don't know. I'll have to look more into it. But back to my rating of this movie. That would give me an A plus for me. I think that would put that at
All right.
8 plus. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
A
it's
plus,
100.
round of applause, and A. We definitely recommend this.
Fuck yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, man! Get
And-
yourself one of those buckets with the worm.
Dude, yeah, that was so. Have you seen that?
Don't.
I have seen it. Yeah.
So
Dan
Noel,
Morone,
the popcorn tin has a sandworm topper,
very
and it's a very
very interesting.
Yep. There
There's
it
like an
is.
SNL skit about it. Like there's been so much talk on the internet.
It's
I do have to
multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Dude, and it's huge in the movie theater too. Like it was like it's like this.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I felt really bad about the little baby worm when they get him out of the sand and
Oh,
they put him in the
yeah,
pool
just
and they
for
like stick the
experiment
thing into the
purposes?
thing. No,
Yeah.
that's how they extract the
Baby
water of life.
Water purpose.
Yeah. It's fucking assholes, man. Why you gotta treat the worms like that? Anyways, well, let's end this, boys.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much
Please.
for mincing this movie with
Please
me.
like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. And as always,
I would like.